What man, it's your big brother K-Rino. We're gonna have some fun with this one. We're gonna have some fun with this one right here, man. Um, Billboard. Billboard done resurrected, initiated yet another list. And you know the thing about these lists, man. I will wait till some people get in here before I just start really expressing myself. But I want y'all to click the like button as y'all come in, man. Y'all know what time it is, man. When you're walking to the house, click that like button for your brother. And we're gonna go in on this list, man. We're gonna talk about this because um, it's a bunch of layers to this whole dynamic, this whole topic that we on. There's a bunch of layers to it. So we're gonna try to cover as many as we can. But y'all click that like button as you come in, man. Um, Billboard just recently released their list. Let's keep that in mind, y'all. Their list of the top 50 greatest rap groups of all time. Now I'm emphasizing their list. Hey, y'all click that like button, click that thumbs up, man. Yeah, you, not you. Click the thumbs up, click it. These lists are no different than if a sports publication lists the top top 20 quarterbacks of all time, the top 50 basketball players of all time. This is just something we do. I don't know why our society is list driven. We always got to make a list. That's just what we do. We have to line everybody up and put them in an order, which really creates the controversy once you put them in order. But I guess if you don't put them in order, I mean, that defeats the purpose of a list, right? But as is the case, every time one of these lists come out, it gets the whole world up in arms. It gets everybody talking. It gets everybody debating and arguing back and forth over the order of the list and the participants, the content, the people who are on the list. Who should have been on? Who shouldn't have been on? Who got left off? Who got disrespected? Who was too high? Who was too low? So we're gonna go in and talk about that. Just by a show of hands, to make the conversation a little more interesting, how many of y'all that are in here right now have seen the list? Because this helps to discuss it. If nobody's seen the list, then I mean, y'all will only get it from my perspective. If you haven't seen the list, go glance at it real quick. Go look at it real quick and then come back, so that way we can have a more intense discussion about it, a more detailed discussion about it. Who's seen the list? Okay, Jovan is saying he's just now seeing it. Roderick says, heard Willie D talk about it. Connie says, I heard Willie D read it from 28 to 1. Okay, yeah, that gives you over half. That's over, just slightly over half the list. I went and looked at the whole thing from top to bottom, and I got some things to say. We got the OG KO and the OG Rapper K up in here. We got SPC OGs up in here. So this is perfect to have this conversation. Okay. So I don't know about y'all. Let me see. Not many people saying they saw the list. Okay, but this is what we're gonna do. Because you'll be arguing for 472 years about who should be this and who's this and that. I have my views on who should have been in the top 5 and all that. But this is the point that I'm making because of the title that I put on this particular video. Why we shouldn't even care. We shouldn't even care what that publication's list looks like, because in my opinion, that publication and others that have made these lists over the years, they are not true reflections of the culture. They're not true reflections of hip hop culture. They are not qualified. They're not valid in terms of the understanding of the culture and the understanding of the history to have, not to make a list. Anybody can make a list. That's fine. I don't argue with your right to make a list, but I don't respect their acumen, if you will, to be able to be declared or to be viewed as this is the valid, this is the absolute end all be all, this is the gospel. I don't look at it like that. A lot of times when you see these lists, we never even know who compiles the list. It's like when they have, like when they vote for athletes to go into the Hall of Fame, you may know certain sports writers who have been given a Hall of Fame vote, right? You'll say, okay, well, this guy got a vote. This guy, you may know some of the sports writers who get a vote. We don't always know, if we know at all, who some of these people at these publications are, what their credentials are in terms of in hip hop, like how deeply rooted and planted are their feet in the game. What have they done in the game? Or they used to be DJs back in the days, or it got to be something, in my opinion, that connects you to the game, that gives you the authority or gives you the respect, rather, that I can look at and say, well, yeah, okay. I always felt like the definitive list should be made by artists. They should poll artists from all around. You know, if y'all want to poll the artists that are just known and mainstream, or that's fine. Okay, that's cool. But I would prefer that over just some dudes in the office working at a magazine, or working for some website that's popular, or working for VH1 or something like that, that compiles a list. And a lot of times it's mainly a popularity contest, or it's mainly just who we think should be all right to be on there. But with every list, even if it was voted for by artists, there's going to be some slights. It's going to be some people who should have been on there, or felt they should be on there, or felt they should be higher, or whatever. And it's not going to land like that, right? So when that happens, at least, you know, in other words, the list is not going to make everybody happy, no matter who does it, no matter who lays it out. But I don't ever give any value to when publications like that put out a list. It might as well have been HEB came out with the list, a grocery store corporation. It would be the same if HEB put out a list as Billboard put it out, in my opinion, because it means just as much. But they have the reach, they have the range, they have the exposure, they have the platform to where, if you're not careful, you'll be fooled into thinking that it's valid. Ooh, Billboard is known for music. The Billboard charts, you make the Billboard. Yeah, but that don't speak to our culture. That don't speak to what rap and what hip hop is to the average person in the streets, the average person who ain't in the streets, who just love the music. So the point is, they don't speak for us. They speak for themselves. So in that regard, it's not, in my opinion, it's not something that we should get upset about. It drives conversation. And I think that's the goal. I think that's the goal. That is something that will maybe sell magazines. Do they still have actual magazines? Or at the very least, something that will turn attention and place eyes on their publication. Let's put this hip hop list out. Everybody's gonna want to see what the list looks like, and whether they like it or not, we're gonna be talking about it. Because I'm talking about it right now. Me being a fan of a lot of the artists on that list, I looked at the list, and just from the sake of, if you want to play the game of saying, all right, man, we'll accept the fact that you have a big platform, and that platform, by you putting these artists on the list, it would draw attention to these artists, or give some guys props who you may not have heard of in years, who the younger generation may not know. So they see that name, they may do their homework. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's a good thing. We're not gonna argue with that. Even though I don't really think that would be the intention. I'm just saying that's something good that we could draw out of it. But I've been doing this a long time. So a lot of the names on the list I'm very familiar with. Some of the names I've never heard of. There's a couple of groups on the list that I've never even heard of before. Like, who was that? But it's not gonna make me slight their being on the list. Because again, it ain't my list. But we do need to talk criteria. So the best way to determine, in my opinion, who should be on these lists when they come out is for a criteria to be established. Like, what are the things that we can list that automatically would qualify a group to be on a top 50, top 20, top 10, top 100, top whatever list. So what are some of the criteria that y'all think warrant a group making an all-time list? I wrote down a few, but I want to hear from you. I want to see, because I'm sure we're going to say the same stuff. I'm sure we're going to say the same. See, any banks already got one of the ones I got on my. We said longevity, right? Longevity is one of the pillars. That's a foundational piece. It's a foundational piece to of criteria that automatically determines if you should be on the list. You can't be on the list, well, my list, if you came out 23 years ago and you had that one song or that one album, and then that was it. And I'm not saying, look, I'm not saying what they got. I'm just saying this is my thing. So you have to have a track record. You have to have some distance. You have to have some decades, at least 10 years at least. You have to have had at least a gap of time where we say, well, man, I ain't gonna lie, from 98 to 08, them boys were popping. Now, you might not have been popping since 08, but you had a 10-year stretch, or you had an 8-year stretch, you had a 5-album little blast where you was popping. I will chalk that up. I will call that longevity. You had a run. Some artists they've been there 25, 30 years, still getting it. Even if they're not putting out albums, they still touring and doing shows. That counts. Because if you're touring and doing shows, even if you haven't put out an album in recent times, but you have a loyal fan base that's still coming to see you, that counts. All right. Jovan says innovation. To be innovative, meaning that you brought something to the game that we had never seen before. We had never, before you came out, we never seen what you came out and did. When you came out, you blew everybody's mind. It's a lot of groups like that. And I know some of y'all, some of the young people might, get upset with me when I say this, but I gotta say it. There's a lot of groups from our era, from the back in the days era, right? That when they first came out, it blew everybody's mind. We had never heard nothing like it before. Like, wow, man, these dudes are so different. The rap style is different. The music is different. The look is different. The persona is different. They innovated. They brought something innovative to the game. They pioneered something, and we had never seen it done before. That counts. If you are coming out and now we can't even distinguish you from 25, 30 other groups or artists that sound just like you, got the same style you got, rap on the same type of beats you rap on, got the same flow pattern and cadence to it, same formula. And we got 80 of y'all floating around there, right? You're not an innovator and you're not original. Okay, Jovan and Roger just hit us with another one. Consistency and longevity, they go hand in hand. They kind of in the same family. They like cousins, brothers, because consistency is one of the key components to having longevity. You can't have longevity without being consistently good or consistently great. You got to do it over and over and over again. Just like I said, you can't be good one time. You can't drop a dope album in 92 and then we never heard from you no more. Or the next thing you put out was you just fell off the cliff. So you have to be consistent. When you are consistent as an artist and as a group, your fan base now has a comfortable, confident dependence on you. They can depend on you. They view you as reliable. They view you as the type of artist that back in the physical copy days, even today, even with digital, it's the same thing. You don't even have to hear the album. You just buy it. That was a big thing back in the day. It was certain artists that you just had to see that they got something new out. It's in the store. You see it, you just stumble across it like, whoa, I ain't know he dropped it. I'm getting it. Because you believe it, you know that they're gonna bring it. Now, Kevin Robinson Jr. hit another one. He said cultural impact, which is a big one. I got all this stuff wrote down. Everything y'all saying, I got it wrote down. Cultural impact. What did you do that affected the hip hop culture on a whole to where your wave just took over everybody? And the way you dress, you got everybody dressing like that. the lingo, the slangs that you use, you got everybody doing it, saying, talking like you. The idea that was projected through your music, people have adopted that idea. See, you think about cultural impact, you think about somebody like Public Enemy, right? When Public Enemy came out, they had everybody fighting the power. They had everybody wearing medallions with Africa, with the continent of Africa on the medallion. It was more pride in some people to wear those medallions that may have costed $5 than to wear a gold chain or some diamonds or something like that, because they hit with such a cultural impact that it injected such a sense of pride in young black people and in white people. Yeah, white people wearing African medallions talking about fight the power. So cultural impact, because what you provided through your music served as a teaching tool. It served as something that practically raised generations of rap fans. We listing criteria right now, y'all. You see? Now, the one thing, appreciate the love, Jimmy. The one thing, yeah, see, Roderick said, see, when Chris Cross wore the clothes backwards, say, man, when Chris Cross wore the clothes backwards, that caught on. It caught on. That counts. But one thing I want to say, because I'm thinking about my list. Billboard's list just made me think about my list. Like it should make you think about yours. Don't get mad at their list. Don't get mad at it. Listen to your big brother. Don't get mad at it. Critique it and say, okay, let me help y'all out. Let me help y'all out, Billboard. Let me help you out, because you need help. One thing I'll say, and we'll get to the people that wasn't on the list, but one thing I'll say is that I have a problem with. Yeah, NWA had everybody wearing Raider hats and jackets, and I mean, we almost started getting Jerry curls again. No, I'm just playing. But let me say this for me. I don't consider you to be a group if it's just a rapper and a DJ. So I don't count Eric B and Rakim as a group. Now, some of y'all might disagree with me. I don't count Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff as a group. And y'all can disagree, but my view of a group, I just had about 20,000 papers just fall on the floor. My view of a group has at least two rappers in it. At least two guys are rapping for it to be a group. That's part of the criteria for me, part of the qualifications. Back in the 80s into the 90s, 99% of rappers and rap groups had a DJ. So that was a given. You just go back in history. I mean, some of y'all grew up and was raised in it, so y'all know what I'm talking about. But for the younger people, just go back in history. Every rapper and every rap group had a DJ. And the DJ was always, mentioned and propped up. You always heard Jam Master J, Run DMC. You always heard the groups, Terminator X. The rappers mentioned they DJ. That was just part of it. They gave props to the DJ. So Even if it was a solo rapper, he had a DJ. Just what it was. So I don't count a solo rapper who happen to have a DJ and they on the cover together, and even if the DJ's name is on, that's not a group to me. Do y'all agree or disagree with that? How many of y'all agree with me on that? I don't care if you disagree or not. I'm saying that's just my perception. I just want to see who's thinking like that, right? Everybody had a DJ. The DJ don't count if it's just one rapper. Now, if it's multiple rappers and he's part of it, yeah, he's part of that totality. Okay, that's cool. But a group to me got at least 2 rappers. So if you see somebody said Chris Cross, somebody said DOS Effects, I don't think they were on the list. But you got 8 Ball MJG, you got Bun B and Pimp UGK, you got Outkast. It's 2 rappers. 2 rapper minimum. Now you're a group. Some groups had 3 rappers, 4. That's just how it was back then. Kid and Play, that's a group. And I knew somebody was going to say this, and I'm not going to argue with you. Like Jovan say, those are duos. See, that's a whole other conversation. Because there are people who might say, well, nah, that's a duo. I knew it was coming. I get it. So maybe that should be a whole other category. But for the sake of this conversation, yeah, that's a group. Sometimes the rappers, the two rapper groups, they still had a DJ. So if it's 3 or more guys, that's a group of guys. But the people who make these lists, I would love to know who they are. Because they just have a position of power. They just have a position of power. Now, Kevin Robinson makes a good point. He says, I consider Gang Starr a group / duo because Premier did all the production. It's a great argument. It's a great argument. It's just something that's, well, and you know what? I'm glad you said that, because let me think with you. Let me walk with you too, because you made a great point. You know what also can sway the way we think about what's a group and what's not? The name. So if you got Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff, now we say, okay, that's a group. But I say it's a solo rapper and a DJ, and a great DJ. Eric B. and Rakim, a solo rapper and a DJ. But their names are individualized. Guru and Premier, they call themselves Gang Starr. They gave themselves a group name, which automatically brought us into the mind frame of this is a group, right? So that's a good point, because the name can dictate the perception of the label. If the name of the group, if the name of the group was Guru and Premier, I would still lean more towards, no, that's not really a group. But they named themselves Gang Starr, so it's like, all right, that's the name of our group. Now let's talk about some of the people who didn't make the list, and this is why I talk about these publications being not even worth us getting mad at when they make these lists. How can you make a top 50 list of rap groups of all time and Houdini is not on the list? Now, if you have looked at this list, and if I missed Houdini, somehow when I was scrolling, somebody please correct me. But if you look at that list, I don't know how many of y'all have looked at it already. I asked y'all that earlier. Am I the only one who didn't see Houdini on the list? Am I the only one that didn't see Houdini on the list? I need some validation. Is Houdini on this list? Right? So, this is what I want y'all to do. I know we got people on here from different ages and different parts of the world, different parts of the country. Just take the time to list some popular, iconic Houdini song titles. Can y'all do that? How many Houdini song titles can we list? Okay, Roderick started off. Friends, how many of us have them? Friends, who don't know that song? I don't care if you 13 years old, you know that song. The freaks come out at night. The freaks come out at night. 5 minutes of funk. One love, one love. Okay, so that right there, all these iconic hit records, that timeless hit classic hip hop songs that Houdini created that still ride today, that group is not on the top 50 list of groups all time. The list don't count. So that's how you look at the list and say, I shouldn't even be mad. These dudes are incompetent. These dudes are incompetent. You base it on not who's on the list necessarily. You base it on who's not on the list. That tells you if they qualify to make a list or not. So if I make me a top 50 list of NBA players of all time and Magic Johnson ain't on my list don't count. I got 50 NBA players on my list, from 50 all the way count down to number 1, and Magic Johnson ain't on my list. What you gonna think about me after that? What you gonna think about me? You say, this dude don't know what he's talking about. So when you figure that part out, you say, okay, this fool don't know what he's talking about. This is a joke to me. I'm moving on. I'm not even mad. How come the Fat Boys ain't on the list? I know I'm old school, man. The Fat Boys ain't on the list, man. The Fat Boys, they were innovative. They were doing movies. They came out with an image that nobody expected. Like, man, these dudes calling themselves the Fat Boys, man. It's like, y'all don't know the impact they had back then because some of y'all wasn't born. Don't get me naming. Where's my boys at, man? Where's Nice and Smooth at? What, Nice and Smooth don't get to make the list? UTFO ain't on the list? I'm just saying, man. I mean, they didn't have Leaders of New School on the list that I saw. So my point is, man, don't get upset when you see incompetent people who have a position of power. See, they have the ability to distribute what's in their mind to the whole world, and we just have to eat it. No, we ain't got to eat it. I'm going to look at it. And before I even get caught up in the order, because the order is a whole other conversation, I'm going to look at who they forgot, who they didn't include. I don't even want to say forgot. I'm going to look at who they didn't even include. Then that's going to tell me right there what I think about you. See? I think they were just putting people on there that they felt like, I think they should be on there. That's just me. That's my thought process. They tried to mix it up. We're going to have some new, we're going to put some new school, we're going to put some old school, we're going to put right up in the middle. De La Soul was on the list. De La Soul was on the list. The Fugees was on it. Y'all got to go look at the list, man. Go check it out real quick. See, this conversation can go a lot better if y'all saw the list yourself. See? Look at the impact that a group like 2 Live Crew had, right? Forget the content if you want to argue about content and all that. The fight that they fought over freedom of speech and the right to just speak your mind and the content, release the content you want. Man, this thing went all the way up to the highest courts. They got banned and all kind. Man, I mean, this was deep, man. But time, what happens is over time, time consumes and swallows up that history to where it's like a whole generation is born that don't even know a lot of the fights and sacrifices that certain people and certain rap groups made in order for you to do what you're doing right now. The fights that had to be fought and won that allows you to talk about twerking and shooting up people and all this different stuff that the content that we still use to destroy ourselves. People went through stuff, man. On the flip side of that, Public Enemy was fighting the same kind of fight on a conscious level. Y'all gotta learn y'all history, man. So you gotta look at the list to understand. But we can't, as artists, feel like our validation has been taken. Like we're not valid. We're not validated if we're not on the list or we're not higher up. Because the list was created by invalid people. The people ain't qualified who made the list, so don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. What do you do for a living? If you're a carpenter, right? You build stuff with wood, man. You build houses and You can build a table and all. You're a carpenter. You're an expert craftsman in woodwork. You think I'ma care if somebody who specializes in making pancakes get to critiquing my craft and telling me that I ain't in it, and you don't know nothing about chairs except you just know how to sit in one? That don't bother me. It don't bother me at all. Because a lot of my favorite groups, they're not mainstream. They didn't sell 10 million records. They didn't sell 1 million records. And they are just as great and greater than a lot of the groups that's on that list. So we got to take that type of stuff with a grain of salt, man. It's not always about one of the important things is not always what was said. It's also very important to know who said it. Because if you ever had somebody that did criticize you, something that you do, and they say, well, hey man, I didn't like this, or I didn't like that. Just say you get a report, it's a piece of paper, and they evaluating you, right? Or something that's critiquing you, and you read the paper and you go, man, they saying that I don't this, or I could do this better, I can, and you didn't really like the critique, right? Then you think and say, okay, well, who wrote this? If you find out that a top person in your field that does the same thing you do, but they on a higher level, they've been doing, they might have motivated, inspired you to do what you're doing, you're going to take that criticism a little better than you would from somebody who don't know nothing, who ain't even hard in the field you in, or just got in it, or they don't. You got to at least have some credentials under your name. You got to have some stripes for me to even respect certain aspects of what you say. See? It's OGs in every game. It ain't just OGs in the streets. It ain't just OGs in the rap game. It's OGs in every field of life. It's OGs in the medical field. It's OGs in the natural herbal field. It's OGs in the auto mechanics field. You ever heard of a master mechanic? It's OGs in science, math, people who operate on high levels that have done it all, seen it all, done it all, can break the game down to you, whatever the game is. When those people speak, and I'm a part of that field, I might still not agree 100% with everything they say, but I'm gonna listen because I know they've been down the roads that I've been down or that I'm trying to go down. This is some little nerds up in the office that combed through Wikipedia a couple of times and said, well, let's put these guys on. Oh, what about this guy? What about this guy? And I'm not slighting nobody that's on the list. Hey, man, if you're on the list, congratulations. Because again, it brings attention. And we ain't no haters, are we? So if you're on the list, and that's the thing that everybody's talking about in this moment right now, we'll be on something else tomorrow. That's another reason to not get upset about it. Because this just for the moment, we'll be talking about something else tomorrow. or somebody else will make a list. But I don't care what they say. I see y'all dropping some names of groups. I guess these are names that y'all feel like should have been on. I see the Alchemists on here. Somebody put DOS Effects on there. Michelle Woods says Spots also probably bought out by record labels. It's possible, but they got a lot of old school names on there. Some of these artists from back in the days, they're not even signed anymore. You know, it's only a handful. Well, we got to understand also the rap group itself, just the concept of a rap group. That's not a prevalent thing like it used to be. You don't see a lot. You're just now seeing rap groups starting to come back. Just now starting to see rap groups come back. Like before the Migos came out, it had been a nice little gap of time before you saw rap groups. This is just my assessment. Correct me if I'm wrong. But in the 80s and 90s, it was rap groups galore, rap groups all over the place. You stopped seeing rap groups because, you know, rap groups was kind of like old school R&B and funk groups. It's like the more people in the group, the more money we got to split. And the more money we got to split, the less money I'm going to get. So people started, hey, man, I can do this by myself. I can do this solo. It's 8 of us in the group. Record label already screwing us. We already getting crumbs off the crumbs. You got a crumb. Okay, here's y'all's crumb. What are we supposed to do with that? Okay, I'm going to take this crumb and I'm going to break this crumb up 5 ways and y'all get a crumb off the crumb. So people start saying, well, man, I might well go solo so I can at least have a whole crumb to myself. But the rap group started to come back. Now, the key question you got to ask about this list, I don't got to ask that question because I'm looking at some of the names that's on it. Kane says, ain't Billboard just the folks that track record sales? Obviously not. They also make rap lists. Hey, man, y'all click the like button, man. Click that like button right now if y'all haven't already. Let's get to 100 likes fast tonight. Let's get to 100 likes before we reach an hour on the stream. Let's do that. Marty Marr. Dead End Marto says, that's what I was tripping on. Migos is on the list, but they did stop signing groups. But when Migos came out, there was no other group. So yeah, they kind of brought the group back. If I'm not mistaken, you know, I ain't always right. I'm not always right. I'm just never wrong. I'm just playing. But the Migos brought the rap group kind of back because people you started seeing rap groups come back, even duos of guys. Gawain Davis, Kid and Play is on the list. Kid and Play is on the list. The Skinny Boys didn't have a long enough run, Jovan, in my opinion. I remember when the Skinny Boys came out, but they didn't have a long enough run, you know, as far as meeting the criteria. You know, you gotta have had a nice little run. Pete Rock and CL Smooth, that was kind of the same thing. My view was with the Eric B and Rakim, and it's like a rap and a DJ. Well, in this case, producer too, because Pete Rock was doing that, was making them beats. Okay, why y'all naming solo artists now? And okay, so you said the Juice Crew. Now, the Juice Crew, this is the question you got to ask now. Do you count rap cliques, rap organizations? See, because the Juice Crew was just a crew of rappers that consisted of some solo rappers. So you got people like Kool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, Shantae, Craig G, Biz Markie. But these are all solo, MC Shan. These are all solo rappers, but they were under the same umbrella as far as the rap clique. Do you count that as a group? Is that a group? See, a clique and a group, that's not the same thing to me. See, that's like my South Park Coalition is a rap clique. We're not an official rap group. We're not a group that say, okay, this is our actual group of artists and we do albums together as a group year in and year out. It's a clique. It's a collective that could consist of multiple combinations of us. Yeah, Jesse. SUC, screwed up clique. You know, it's a clique. That don't count. My boy Phantom Face. And see, that's the thing. See, it's like it don't even do no good to argue or to get upset about these lists. We can speak our opinions on them. If they come out with a list, they say, man, top lyricists in rap history. Do I think that I'm supposed to be on that list, regardless of who made it? Yeah. The only way that I would give somebody a pass for making a list, and they say, man, these are top, forget 50, top 20 lyricists of all time. The only way I would give somebody a pass for not putting me on that list, they would have to have never heard my name, didn't know anything about me. Then God never heard of me. What can I do? But if they heard of me and didn't put me on the list, no big deal. Because another thing that we don't factor in people's opinions, no matter how incompetent, no matter what our opinion is of their opinion. You got the right to put whoever you want to put on your list. Whether you hating, whether you ignorant, whether you just outright crazy, or whether you just actually feel like that's your list. That's a possibility. But I would know in my heart, as I read the list, I would still be like, yeah, it's a dope list. Because they have top 20, 50 lyricists on it. I'm saying, yes, because I'm sure they're going to have some incredible lyricists on the list. But to your point, whoever quoted that lyric I said years ago, in my thought process, I'm going to still be like, the list ain't valid. The list ain't valid if I'm not on it, regardless of the reason why I'm not on it. Regardless if you've never heard of me, your list ain't valid. Sorry, you didn't do your due diligence. You should have knew. You should know. Now, what I did see in the group that I didn't like, I mean, on a list that I didn't like, they had the Hot Boys on the list, which in my opinion, yeah, that's a good pick. I was a big fan of the Hot Boys back in the days. But further down the list, they had the Big Timers, which was consisted of two members of the Hot Boys. It was Baby and who else? It was two members of the Hot Boys. That don't count to me. That don't count. No, that don't count. Unless the Big Timers would have had like 4 or 5 albums with a bunch of, if they'd have peeled off and kind of did like a Belle Biv DeVoe type of thing, then yeah. But I don't know how many albums the Big Timers released, but I don't think it's you can't peel off two guys from a group that's already on the list, and when they did a couple of projects together, then all of a sudden they're on the list too. Nah, but you left Houdini off. The list ain't valid. Come on, man, don't get mad. I saw my brother Willie D. It's Willie D, y'all. I saw him express his displeasure with the Ghetto Boys' position on the list. They had the Ghetto Boys at 28. See, right there, that's when I would have been like, okay. I'd have been looking for my name. I've been, okay. 28, then I'll be like, oh, I'll start laughing. I'm like, oh, this some BS. This some BS. They trolling. These dudes got to be trolling. I wouldn't even been mad no more. I'd be like, because to Willie D's point, it's not about where I am on the list. It's about wherever you place me, you better make sure that everybody you got ahead of me deserves to be ahead of me. You can't have the PP boys in front of me. You got the PP crew. You got the PP crew in front of me? Nah, you can't do that. So it ain't about, it's about who you got in front of me. But once I see that you don't know what the hell you talking about and what you doing, then I ain't mad no more. It's like, oh, okay, these are dummies. All right. Thank y'all for putting my name somewhere, anywhere on here. Appreciate you. Appreciate that love. But y'all got the PP crew. Y'all got the PP crew in the top 10. No. And again, Houdini ain't on the list. The list is dead once Houdini ain't on it. It's dead. So I would have been mad. I wouldn't have been upset at all. Hey, man, give me 7 more likes, man. And you know what else? Those who know. That's the thing. See, the real truth. We know, man. We know, we laugh at that. See, that's why I'm so detached and disconnected from any of this mainstream commercialized bull crap, because I know it's watered down. I know it's a favoritism game. It's a popularity contest. It doesn't necessarily have to do with having focus on substance. It has to do with having focus on, like I say, who we think should be on there. Nah, man, Houdini ain't on the list, bro. Go double check. Am I wrong? Who saw Houdini on the list? Did I miss him? Did I miss him? Houdini ain't on the list. The list don't count. It's over. The list is dead. Especially if they got the PP crew on the list. There are people on that list I never heard of. There's one or two groups I never heard of. I'm not disrespecting those groups. Because now, since I've never heard of them, I'm sure there's other people that may not have. That's like being if they would have put me on a list like this. I mean, who is this? Who is K-Rino? I get it. But that's good publicity for them. So I'm happy for them. But in the spirit of just keeping it real, there's people on that list, there's people that's not on that list that should be on a legit list. Their list ain't legit, so it is what it is. See, I remember one year. Okay, that's like I said, but I talked about how the NBA, they let the sports writers and the analysts vote for most valuable player, right? So now you got a bunch of old dudes who never played basketball before, a bunch of dried up white dudes, 78 years old, fat dudes, and they're picking the MVP of the league. I say let the players pick who the MVP is. They the ones competing against these dudes. Trust me. I play basketball 4 times a week. And when you play the game, I ain't playing no NBA level now. But even on the level out, the hood hooping level, you know who can play. And it's always somebody that sits on the sideline that comes to the gym and watches. They don't really even play. And they talking about what you got to do to stop that guy. Or, no, see, don't let him do this. And you sitting there like, that's easy for you to say. But trust me, if you was out there trying to guard this dude, you would understand how hard it is to guard this dude. So you not qualified to say who is what. That's how it should be, in my opinion. Let the rapper, see, when you rap, you know who dope. Number one, you know what it takes to put, and how hard a work it is to put together good content. How much time and effort it takes to create good music and be creative. All the things we said earlier, to be creative, to be innovative, to be consistent, to work hard. You know all this coming in. But somebody who ain't never did it, and now they telling you, nah. You can't tell me by no lyricist. Because I ain't got to hear but a few bars from him. I'm like, oh yeah, he nice. He the real deal. He the real deal. Just like on the flip side, you can't pass no dude over on me. See, I've had people try to pass cats over on me. Man, check this dude out. Boy, this boy got them lyrics. And then you listen and you go, yeah, I mean, he all right. Because I can see through the little icing. It's icing. It ain't no cake. I want some cake. You sneak a couple of cool bars in, every 8 bars, you'll say something that's decent. Then 6 bars later, you'll say, punchline. Then 10 bars later, but in all of the rest of it, you just saying some stuff. It's like, you can't fool me with that. Yeah, y'all trying to T-rash me, man. So the people that do it, they know. They can tell you who cold and who ain't. Hey, man, that boy. I done argue with a whole lot of people because they'll tell me about a rapper that's, man, he ain't really. I'm like, nah, that dude the truth, bro. He's just going over your head. You ain't getting it. You missing it. I'll tell people that about my own stuff. It's like, nah, y'all don't really be hearing me. Some of y'all don't even really be hearing me. Y'all just going by whatever. Oh yeah. Y'all ain't hearing me. Y'all don't be hearing the depths. I told y'all that once before. Y'all ain't up there with me. Y'all not traveling through the cosmos with me. There's a lot of people that's like that. So my point is, the people who comprise these lists together, they not up there. They don't know. They don't know. Because my whole point and argument of this whole video is the fact that Houdini is not on that list. It's invalid right there. Top 50 rap groups of all time, and Houdini ain't on there? Now, y'all can argue with some of the other names. Y'all can argue. I said UTFO. Okay, y'all can argue that. They may not have had the longevity. Time may have consumed a lot of their music, and the hits may not have been as, I mean, it was for me. I might get off of here tonight and jam some UTFO. I feel like hearing some UTFO now. I'm going to go jam Leader of the Pack. See? And one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of these cats make, and a lot of fans make, tell you one of the biggest mistakes that fans make. I want y'all to go listen to a song I did called, that's the title right there. Go listen to that song. One of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make when they're making their argument about who is here or here as a rapper is when they base it 100% on record sales. Well, he sold the most. He sold 20 million, fool. He way better than him. He sold 10 million records. That ain't how you judge, man. That's how you judge who sells the most. Yeah. That's all that says to you. What does him selling 30 million records mean? It means that he sold a lot of records. He's in the top 50 of all time record sales as a rapper. Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily mean he's a top 5 skill-wise. It could. It's people that sell a lot of records and they still can rap. But that can't be the end-all, be-all in the argument. He sold more than you. He got to be better than you. You got rappers who are party rappers, who are dance rappers that sold 10, 15, 20 million records. They rap better than KRS-One? No. So record sales is something that's industry driven. That's something that's a product of the promotion and marketing teams of record labels, mixed in with the packaging of the artist, and mixed in with the levels of talent that that artist might have, and that an A&R may find a way to market that and have a relationship with the record, with the radio stations, a relationship with the radio stations to get certain artists in heavy rotation, which fuels the exposure and pushes the exposure. And if it's good or decent, especially back in the days, it'll sell. I love MC Hammer. But when you're talking about rapping, not just an artist, not just, okay, MC Hammer's a great artist, dancing, I still say he's the greatest dancer. I love Michael Jackson, but I'm like, man, Hammer was, ooh. But MC Hammer not gonna be in a cipher with Rakim, holding his own with Nas in a cipher or something like that. Nah, that's not his lane. Just like Nas ain't gonna be up there and winning no dance contests against Hammer. It's not his lane. Payola, yep. It's the difference between favorite and best. I said that in the song, man. All right, man, let me see what y'all talking about. Appreciate y'all getting us over the 100 like mark quicker than usual. Black Star 49, City Girl. Okay, MOP was 50, Black Star 49, City Girls was 48. He said, yeah, I know where this is going. Yeah, because it's a current release of a list on a major publication. So they have to make sure that they mix it up and diversify, you know, according to the past, the present, the age demographics. That's what I was saying, James. No fat boys. Appreciate the love, Night Wolf. God status. Who else y'all think got slighted, got left off the list? Did y'all agree with the order? What about the top 5? See, for me, there was no groups more impactful than like Run. When I think about Run DMC and Public Enemy, especially Run DMC, I don't think I would put anybody over Run DMC because they check every box in terms of the criteria that we talked about. They check every box. I loved Willie D's point about how the Ghetto Boys were the pioneering group for the whole southern region. Because I've said that on many occasions in different interviews and all that. It's like they were the first southern hip hop group to establish themselves on a worldwide level, not just from the standpoint of, okay, we have a record deal and we are being distributed worldwide, so we have exposure and eyeballs are on us. No, but to have the music and the material that was so dope that it attracted people to purchase, listen, and it inspired other rappers from the region to give us a thought like, man, we can. Somebody from Down here where they don't have no respect for us, we can do it. They was the seed. The Ghetto Boys was the seed, bro, that everybody else grew out of, right? In terms of the southern region being taken seriously as a force in rap music. Man, that stuff ain't gonna sell. Who them dudes is now, man? They ain't from New York. They ain't from LA. That right there. That's supposed to get you in the top 10 at least, man. Let me shut up. You shot y'all out real quick, but I ain't gonna hold y'all long. I got work to do. I'm working on an album. I'm working on an album. I'm iced up like a swole ankle. I'm working on an album. Man, I'm way down here, way up here. Hey, man, look. Try this again. I'm working on an album. The latest episode of the Underground Dialogue podcast is up. The interview was with Michael 5000 Watts. I would love for y'all to do me a favor and go over after y'all get through with your brother over here and go over to the Underground Dialogue podcast, which I just typed in the box, and watch the interview with Michael 5000 Watts. If y'all watched it already, those of y'all who really support my podcast, I appreciate y'all, man. The rest of y'all who hear me talk about my podcast every week and always urge y'all to go on there, but y'all never go on and listen, I hope you get a bad case of the runs right in the middle of an important business meeting. I hope that you right in the middle of an important business meeting and all of a sudden you get a terrible case of the runs. And you just in there just, that's what I hope on. That's what I wish on you. Because I've been telling y'all, man, about this content that we be having on our podcast, man. Whether we got a guest on there or not, we be dropping some jewels on y'all, man. And y'all refuse to support my podcast. I'm sick of it. Sick of it. So thank y'all to all y'all that have. I appreciate that. Y'all missing out on some good stuff, bro. Okay, what else? Thank you, Phantom Face. Quit sleeping on me, man. Sean Hankerson says, what's up with Gangsta Nip? Hey, man, y'all subscribe. Gangsta Nip's YouTube channel. I just put his YouTube channel in the box. Y'all go subscribe to Gangsta Nip's YouTube channel. Got some new stuff just dropped. Got an artist that just dropped. He just put an artist out. Sister named Misunderstood. Nip doing his thing, man. Nip ain't stopped. Y'all just stop. Y'all stop paying attention. See, in this internet age that we live in, man, we don't really have to ask, hey, man, whatever happened to, say, man, what's up with this? Just type their name in and you'll see. And if they not doing nothing, when you search their name, ain't nothing gonna come up. But there's no way somebody could ask about me and say, man, whatever happened to that K-Rino dude, man? Just type my name in. And y'all gonna see, oh man, this dude got 50 some albums out. This dude still dropping music like crazy, man. This dude got a podcast. This dude, man, you'll find out. Just do a search. It's easy. But like I said, this is how I know when people don't really be following me. Like, if I run into somebody, I'll do it on the street. If I run into somebody and you start talking to me about my first album, my second album, because that's the last place you left off with me, I'm gonna know you ain't been rocking with me. All right. I don't know, Roger. I'm out. Depends on how I feel. I may do an open topic tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows? Y'all drop y'all locations, man. Where y'all at? Let me shout y'all out. And shout out y'all hometowns at the same time. Hope all of y'all get the runs. Watery, uncontrollable runs. Unstoppable runs. Columbus, Ohio in the building. Phantom Face Final. Big Ock from the South Bronx. Metal Face, Little Rock. Out Bad, Brutal in LA. James Drake in Birmingham, Night Wolf in Brighton, Colorado. Going South Magazine, San Antonio. I was just in San Antonio, man, a few weeks back. Rapper K still in the building, man. Hey, let's do an OG salute. I was running my mouth. I saw KO and Rapper K coming here. But I was running my mouth just getting the topic out, man. Y'all, man, let's do an OG salute for my brother, Rapper K. This is one of the first, we talking about groups. Well, we a clique, but you know, we on the subject of groups. Just one of the first members of the South Park Coalition, man. Y'all shout out my brother, Rapper K, man. Give him the OG salute. Motto already know what it is. Unique Beauty know what it is. That means y'all just give us some peace signs, power fist, 100. Just showing love, man. Whatever you got, man, drop it right now. For one of my brothers, one of the first members of the SPC, been down with me for almost a 40 piece. Yeah. Y'all shout out to my brother. And I'll continue to shout y'all out by locations. Roderick in H-Town, Priest Forever in Harlem, Harlem World. Jesse out there on the west side of ATL, Zone 1. LW be having them jokes. You know me well, don't you? Set your alarm clock. Pat Warren in Ohio. Tampa Bay, hey. Yeah, man, y'all don't watch my podcast. Y'all watch everybody else, though. And then you know what? I'm going to tell you what make me mad. What make me mad is when I have already done a concept or a topic on my podcast, and y'all know I got a podcast, and then one of y'all ask me, hey, man, what do you think about AI? And I got a whole episode about that on the podcast. That's what bothers me. What do you think about all of these aliens? Got a whole interview with brother Ilya Rashad Muhammad. We talked about I mean, that let me know who rocking and who ain't. Hold on, man. KO still in here, man. OG KO is still in the building. I thought KO had burned. We gotta do another OG salute. This man been in the South Park Coalition for 35 years. 35 years. Give us another OG salute, man. Same thing we just did for Rapper K. Let's hit it again. Let's backdoor it, man. Let's run it back. 35 years, man. That's how long I've been knowing this dude. When I first met him, he had on a pair of acid wash jeans. He was wearing some acid wash jeans. I can't talk. I used to wear them too from time to time. Yeah, y'all, man, drop the OG salute. Yeah, since 88. That's right, out bad. Since 88. Y'all don't know what acid wash jeans are? Who don't know what, Roger, you don't know what acid wash jeans are? You know them little jeans that look like they was like, it's hard to describe them. I didn't tell y'all my acid wash jeans story. If y'all want to hear it, I'll tell it. Yeah, stone washed. Yeah, right. I don't know where I got it. They used to call them acid wash too. But yeah, they call them stone wash jeans. Yeah, they was like bleached. Like, yeah, they look like when you bleach some blue jeans and they got still got the blue, but the white is kind of integrated in there. Yeah, it's stone wash jeans. Yeah. There was a style at one point. The first day I ever met KO, he was wearing a pair of those. They was a style back then, though. Yeah, they look worn. Magnetic said they look worn out when you buy them. But they used to call them acid wash, though. I didn't just make that up. They call them that, too. No, sir. But yeah, man, one of the morals to this whole conversation tonight is that it's up to you, me, and whoever else. It's up to us to make sure that we make ourselves relevant the best we can, and to make sure that we make our stories always circulate as long as we are around to do that. Because sometimes if you don't tell your own story, it's not going to get told. Sometimes people don't know your story. They don't know you. But we get mad because you don't even get included in something and they don't even know who you are. So if enough people don't know me, you know what that tells me? That tells me that I ain't working hard enough. I'm not pushing and promoting myself hard enough. Can't get mad at the person who don't know you. Get mad at yourself for not making yourself known. Yeah. All right, so one time I was young. I was about 19 or 20. I was young. I was a young cat. And somebody had hooked me up with this young lady. It's a mutual friend or something. They had You know, back in the days, when one of your homeboys is dating somebody, you always say, "Man, she got a friend. She got a friend." That's all everybody you say. She got a friend. But anyway, somebody hooked me up to meet this young lady, and we talked on the phone before we ever met in person. There was no internet. With no internet, you can't say, "Well, could send me a picture. What's your Instagram?" Where they can go comb through your pictures and all that stuff. With none of that. It was just you talk on the phone. Then then what else they used to say? When you talking on the phone to somebody that you never met in person, first thing you'll say, "Man, she got a friend." Then once y'all link up, cause she looking for a friend too, you looking for a friend. So y'all on the phone, what's one of the first things y'all gonna say to each other? So describe yourself. Tell me a lie. No, they high. Yeah, you got all the formalities out. You gonna be on that phone, y'all gonna be talking for a little while, you gonna say, so describe yourself. Oh, I'm about 5'4", about 128. But whatever they say, it's not good enough because you gotta say, well, who you look like? Name somebody on TV that people say you look like. You trying to find out, and they asking you the same questions. This girl told me flat out. I think I told this story. Well, I feel like I told this story before. This young lady told me flat out, because we had set up, we was gonna meet. I was gonna go and meet her and whatever. She said, "Don't come over here with no stonewashed jeans on." She said, "I do not like stonewashed jeans." For the life of me, I cannot explain to y'all what made me still go over this girl's house wearing a pair of stonewashed jeans. To this day. She told me, I don't know what she had against them. That's a whole nother issue. I don't know what type of trauma that she had that was connected to Stonewall, but we could have been talking about the space program. She made a point to let me know that when you come to my house, I don't care if you don't have a head on your body, do not show up at my door wearing no stonewashed jeans. Why did I wear a pair of stonewashed jeans over there anyway? I ain't tell you that, KO. To this day, went straight over there with a pair of stonewashed jeans on. Went straight over there. You know what she said? I mean, it's like, it's sort of thing like, man, you gotta be crazy. It's like, what's wrong with you? And when I say what's wrong with you, I'm talking about me. This girl say, when I overdose, she say, like, picture we at our level. Then she go, she looked down at me and she said, I told you not to wear no stonewashed jeans. That's the first thing that came out of her mouth. I couldn't even explain it. I couldn't even explain it. To this day, I don't know why I did it. Something just took over my mind like, oh, she gonna see these stonewashed jeans. She gonna get this work. She gonna get this stonewashed work. Man, that girl's interest, her interest in me was like, boo, boo, boo. She had zero interest in me the whole time I'm over there. I'm just sitting there with my little stonewashed jeans on, watching TV. I ended up hooking up with Nip. It's the truth, bro. I'm not making this up. I promise this is the God honest truth, bro. I was warned, Roderick. She told me. She said, don't wear. She could have said, don't wear a green shirt. She could have said, don't show up at my house with a sombrero on. Of all the things, of every article of clothing that she could have mentioned, she said stone-washed jeans. I could have wore some stone-washed jeans the 5th time I saw her. Maybe after I won her over something. The 12th time. Came straight over there the first time with him on. That happened about 30-some years ago. I still can't tell you why I did it. I have no idea why I did it. I think sometimes, man, we just have just mental lapses. We just throw it off. There's certain stuff we do that you can't even explain why you did it. I'm gonna tell y'all what Murder One did where one time, and I'm gonna get off. We talk about brain lapses. I wish Murder was on here. One time we was in the studio, right? And we was mixing the song down. Anybody know music, you record the song, then you mix it, then you master it. The mixing process is just when you getting all of the instruments leveled. You don't want the kick real high and the snare real low. You want the bass line loud. You want the main rap too low, and the hook come in, you all loud. You got to level everything out, EQ everything. That's what a mix is, right? So it's a very delicate process because you got to hear it right. And at that time, we was paying for studio time. So studio time is like you on the clock. So you want to try to get this mix right. And myself and the engineer was doing the mix because I was just learning how to do mix down because I don't know how to work the equipment, but I got an ear. My ear is like A1. I know when it sounds right. I know, nah, that's too low. Nah, that don't sound right. Bring it up. Now bring that down. Just bring it down just a little bit. I got that. So we doing the mix, and we had mixed down a couple of songs, and everything was manual back then. So you got the little faders or whatever. And as the song was going down, we finished the song. I start fading the thing. You hear the fade on the radio, you fade it down, and completed mix. We mixing a song one day. It's me, the engineer, and Murder sitting at the mixing board too. Murder One sitting at the mixing board. We almost at the end of the mix, but we not there yet. But we almost there. And at the end, Murder One just reaches over for no reason and just takes the fader and just snatches the fader all the way down. And we looked at him like, because he cut the song off too quick. So we're like, man, what are you doing? And he was sitting there like, he couldn't explain it. So we had to do the whole mix over. And we was on the clock. So he had a stonewashed jeans moment. Because he just wanted to, I guess he wanted to participate. He was like, I just want to be a part of it. And he just snatched the thing down before it was time to snatch it down. And he didn't fade it. He just snatched it down. Had to do the whole mix over. So, I mean, sometimes we just have a lapse, bro. I mean, it happens, man. Y'all can't act like y'all ain't never did it. This is old school. This This was old school, long before Pro Tools. Everything was manual. You moving it up with your hand, like, okay, do that sound right? All I gotta do is go listen to like my first couple of albums. The mixes was horrible. I mean, I'm just going off my ear. I'm doing the best I could. But in the end, man, never let invalid people validate you in your mind. Those who are not valid cannot validate your worth and your value, man. So if y'all saw that list, don't get upset. Don't get upset. Just know that you know the real, or you know that that's their opinion. You know, it is what it is. The 80s and 90s was great, man. I miss the 90s. I don't miss the 80s because I was still in school. I ain't like going to school. I miss the 90s. The 90s was different. That was the golden years. That's the golden time of day. Sir Drop, do I got all my black books? Yep. I got every lyric I ever wrote still in this original manuscript. Somebody want to buy it? Give me 89 million and y'all can have them. All right, man. One love to y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. Peace.